What a day. Another roller coaster, not really that different from yesterday. If you recall, yesterday, first trade of the day, I was up $15, whatever, break even. Second trade of the day, I lost 2 grand. Dug myself a hole, spent the rest of the morning trying to recover, got myself back to green, and then went back to red. Ended up finishing the day red. Not a big red day, but red nonetheless. Guess what I did today? First trade of the day, boom, in the red, 1,700 bucks. Things started to unravel. And I was like, man, 2 days in a row. This is not good. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. And oh my gosh, today's the last day of the month of June. So it feels like there's kind of pressure to finish the month strong. I wasn't able to finish strong. It was almost a red day recap. I almost just said it's a red day recap, but I barely saved it on my last trade. We're going to jump in and recap the trades from today. So first trade of the day, let's just start with the ugly. So when I sat down this morning, first of all, as always, I pull up my phone, bright and early, and I'm checking the scans on my phone. So on my phone this morning, I saw that our leading gapper was like 30%, 40%. We didn't have any big gaps. We did end up, as the morning sort of went on, getting a couple of gappers that were a little bit bigger, up to 50%, 60%. But the other thing I noticed about the gap scan this morning was that most of the stocks gapping up were cheaper or had a higher float. So this is the gap scan on my phone right here. So I pull this up each morning just in my browser tab. And so COSM was our leading gapper. It was up 79% by the open. Lucy was the second leading gapper, up 59%. Both of them are below $2 a share. Then we had CARM, we had ECDA, we had CMND. These are all under $2 a share. These are cheap stocks. So what I'll actually do here is I'll pull up my gap scan. So these are the scans that we have in inside the Day Trade Dash software. And this is a gap scanner, which is a picture in time, last updated 9:25 to 9:30. So this shows us what the market looked like going into the open. So we did technically have a nearly 100% gapper, but this is a cheap stock. So we'll just ignore that for now. And it had no volume. So COSM, 79% gap, $1.20, 27 million shares of volume pre-market. Float's 10 million shares, so it already had almost 3 times float rotation. Lucy up 59%, 60 million shares of volume with an 11 million share float, 6 times float rotation, almost. OPTT cheaper, AAGR cheaper. So wait a second. We've got to go down like 10 gappers before we find one that's above $2 a share. So I wasn't happy when I saw that. And you know what I said? Yesterday I was like, I felt like, if I was going to be honest with myself, my day yesterday, it wasn't great. Obviously, I started first trade of the day with my max position of 5,000 shares, losing 40 cents. So I was down $2,000. And then on basically every trade I took after that, I was like 5,000 shares, full size, full size, full size. But on that trade on GOVX, if you recall, we had that trade I took on GOVX where I got in, it was like 440. It drops to 4, and then it curls back up to 440, goes to 450, goes to higher. On that one, I did get stubborn. I averaged down. And so I went above my 5,000 share cap. And that was even though I was red on the day. So, thinking about it later, I was like, you got to, if you're going to be fair, you kind of broke a rule there. And so I spent a little extra time last night sort of trying to do my meditation and calm myself down, because I was like, all right, you want to get yourself back on a nice streak of having the discipline and following all of the rules. Even though that trade did end up working out okay, that doesn't mean it was a good trade. So this morning when I sat down, I was like, gosh, is this going to be a no trade day? But I was reminded just a couple weeks ago of 2 weeks ago today, KAVL. 2 weeks ago today, it was looking like a no trade day on a Friday. There was nothing. And then KAVL out of nowhere squeezes, as you could see here, from, what was it, $1 all the way up to $8 a share. 9:15 breaks out, boom, it goes, pulls back, pushes higher, incredible. So I ended up having a great day, an amazing Friday. It might have been the best day of the week right there. It might have even been the best day of the month, but I'd have to double check. So I was thinking, who knows? Maybe there'll be a wild card stock today. And we did end up getting a wild card stock. So unfortunately, on my first trade, I went into the red. So on my very first trade, we'd have to scroll back here. It won't be probably too hard to scroll back because let's see, what time was that trade? That doesn't really matter. I'll just type it in here. So BENF hits my scanners and it's moving up. Oh my gosh, look at this chart. This is not pretty. Not pretty at all. So when BENF hit my scanners, I was like, finally, a stock above $2 a share that's moving up. That was like what got me excited, that it was not $2, you know, $1.50 or whatever. So it pops up right here and it dips down. So you can see right here, right in here, it pops up and it's going sideways. And I'm kind of perceiving this as being consolidation, a little wedge right here, kind of like a flag pattern. And I'm thinking, this is a long right here. So I punched it. I bought 5,000 shares. I don't know why I bought so many shares. It must have been a little bit of FOMO from yesterday and just like trying to break the ice with a nice green trade. So I get in right here. And on the next candle, you'll see it goes up to 350. So I'm like, all right, you know, we're moving in the right direction. Can we push a little higher? 360, 375. And then this candle's back at 330. And I'm like, uh-oh, kind of, here's the problem. This was the pullback. You want to see it break out. So the fact that it's already kind of pulling back again, even though it's only up like 10 cents, 8 cents, that's not great. And the problem is traders get impatient and they bail. And people started bailing and I bailed too, and I took the loss. So I end up losing 1,700 on my first trade. It's a tolerable loss, you know, that's fine, but it's a frustrating loss because, of course, first trade of the day, just like yesterday, in the red, 30 cents a share, a little more than 30 cents a share, got slippage on the exit, got filled like $3, $2.92, something like that. So it was a bad fill on the exit. And now I'm in the red. Now my max loss is $5,000. So I'm not below max loss. I'm not even halfway to max loss, fortunately. But I only had one day this week where I was close to the daily goal. I didn't have a single day this week where I was over the daily goal. My daily goal is 5,000. So considering that I didn't have any daily goals this week, having a daily max loss would be pretty bad. You know, that's not great. So now I'm like, all right, well, this is not good. So I take the loss on that. That was, I mean, it was, let's see, literally that trade lasted, I'm looking at it. It rejected so fast. It looks like it was like a 55-second long trade. It's just, yeah. So anyways, so that was not good. So I take the loss on that. It is what it is. So now I'm sitting here down 1,700. COSM was our leading gapper. And I thought, well, you know, I don't like trading these because they're cheap. And I don't make much money if they are only going up 3 to 4 cents a share. I have to take bigger share size, which I don't prefer to take because of fees and commissions. But I looked at it right in here and I thought, you know, if it can break over this pivot, we might see a nice move. So on this one, as it comes up to this peak right here of $1.24, I added 10,000 shares. 10,000 shares is definitely more than my 5,000 share cap. And I did it when I was down $1,700. So, you know, again, not great. The thing I would say on this is that unlike GOVX, it was a very cheap stock. And realistically, this is the type of stock that I'm okay with taking bigger size on, but I just don't like to do it because, you know, I don't usually end up making that much money. So I get in it right here as it breaks over $1.25. I add for the break of $1.30, and I got my best exit at $1.32. That's 7 cents a share. 7 cents a share. So I'm up $735 on it, but I only got 7 cents. You know what I mean? Like the total move was actually 8 cents. I don't even think I averaged a full 7. So I just felt like on this one, you know, just was it worth it? Well, you know, it got me back to down only about $1,000 on the day. So it was a winner, and that's fine. The risk was fine on the trade. It was arguably a much better trade than BENF. It was a better trade. It was a better setup. But I don't usually do super well in these low price stocks, and it didn't really make a huge move. Anyways, a small winner, and so that's fine. All right, so then let's see. So I did end up trading GOVX again today, but I was very cautious on it because yesterday it was so choppy. So if we actually go back into the 5-minute chart, yesterday, sideways consolidation punches higher, but, sort of whippy here, as you can see. And so this morning, I saw some traders saying they liked it around 350. And at that time, I honestly was like, I don't see what you see. I don't see the catalyst that's going to make this, go higher. I just don't see it. But I was wrong. At the open, it squeezes up to 4, goes up to 415 to 420. It dips right here and then pushes up higher. So now let's jump into the 10-second chart. So on the 10-second chart, just kind of align this here just to get it zoomed in. So my trade on GOVX, let's see, so it was 938. So it was right here. It was actually right here. So I bought this dip kind of right in this area. And you can see we got a little dip, we got a little push higher, but I did it with small size. And I held because I did a starter position and I was like, let's see if this thing pulls away and I can add, but it came back down and I ended up stopping out with only $65 of profit. All right. So at this point, I'm down, $900 on the day. And then I had this trade on DXYZ, which is a small loss. And all of a sudden, WHLR starts pushing higher. And I pull it up. I see it on the scans. What I notice about it is that it says the float's 45 million shares, or sorry, 45,000 shares. And I'm like, what's going on with this? And then I see, oh, okay, just announced a reverse split. Wheeler Real Estate Investment Trust. So it's a REIT. So I'm like, well, real estate investment trusts, don't usually love those. WHLR. So I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not really sure. Let's see if we can find shares. So May 2nd, 2024, there were 68 million shares. So if they did a 10-to-1 split, it would be 6.8. They did so the actual split that they did was 5-to-1. So the float is low. It's not as low as it shows here. This is a data issue. Sometimes we see that on some of these thinly traded stocks. So it starts popping up, and basically, I mean, it's kind of wild because all of a sudden, and actually right now, it's our leading percentage gainer in the entire market. But note that it only has 300,000 shares of volume. So it's a stock that's been beaten up for a long time. That's why they had to do the reverse split. And it, all of a sudden, by the time I saw it, it was already halted up right here. So it's halted up at like 15, showing a $17 resumption. It resumes and immediately goes into another halt up. But as you can see, on very light volume. So I'm like, nah, I don't know. Can't really do anything with that. It opens, it dips. I saw the dip and I thought I could, but again, light volume, halts up a second time. So the dip and rip worked. Then it opens at 24 and halts up again. It opens and squeezes up here to 27, and this is where I'm like, whoa, okay, this is crazy. So now it halts down, and I actually bought 250 shares into the halt down. Starter position. You'd say that's a risky position, and it is a risky position, but what we know about these is that a lot of times, out of the first halt down, if it doesn't gap lower, it'll bounce and move higher, and that's exactly what ended up happening here. So it resumes at 28, so I'm up. Let's see, I got in at 23, so I'm up $5 a share on 250 shares, so $1,200. It pushes up to 30, and I add right here another 250 shares. So now I've got 500 shares, my average is like 27 or something like that. And I'm looking for this to rip up to 30, 35, etc. I was looking at the daily 200 EMA as a possible profit target area up here. So it ends up tapping 30. It hits 30 and then drops down to 26. And I stopped out. So I ended up losing, I guess I lost, technically unrealized. I went from 23.40 up $6 a share on 250 shares. So I was up like $1,500 unrealized. Ended up stopping out flat on it. On a day when I don't have a lot of profit, that might not have been a smart move to add. It did look like it was going to break 30. Anyways, it pulled back. Then we get the MACD crossover. It rolls over a little bit more, and that's that. But meanwhile, we had NUWE. And I saw NUWE, and I noticed it was moving higher here. And I was like, oh, look at this. It's also reverse split. So I ended up jumping in this, and we had a halt up 1 and then dip and a rip into halt up 2. And on that one, with a 1,500 share position, I made $1 a share. So didn't take big size, but locked up $1 a share, $1,500, almost $1,600. And with that, I got the swing from red to green. Now, I would have been happy to keep trading, but now it's, 11 a.m. We're kind of getting a little further into the day. It's a Friday. It's the last day of the month. And WHLR isn't holding up. I was looking for it maybe for the next leg higher, but it ended up, right here breaking down below VWAP. And it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of volume, obviously, on this. Total volume today, highest is on Lucy, penny stock. Second highest, COSM, CMND. So, that's where the attention is right now. And I can't really fight that. So unfortunately, these last couple of days have been slow. Like I said, the majority of the profit from the week came from Tuesday, Wednesday, small green day, Thursday, small red day, Friday, small green day. All right, well, live to trade another day, trying to keep my head above water, treading water a little bit, I suppose, right now. But I'm okay with that. My account is, more or less near all-time highs. I guess yesterday's loss and today's profit, after you take off commissions, I'm still probably red in these last 2 days a little bit, but that's all right. Green on the week, and green on the month, and green on the year. So big picture, things are good. We're just in a little bit of a lull right now, and so as we kind of navigate this period, we've got the 4th of July coming up next week, so we might have. Of course, we've got the holiday on Thursday. Markets open Friday, but it'll be light volume, kind of like today. Actually, it might even be slower than today. So it's a good time to study. It's a good time to practice in the simulator. Get yourself ready. Build that track record. And I would say, look, if you can do well in this kind of market, that's going to set a really solid foundation for when things start to heat up. Because this is the type of market that really tests your discipline, your ability to stick to the rules, to follow the rules of your strategy, to not get impatient. And you could see from the last couple of days that that's something that I struggle with. No one is completely immune to these struggles. So anyways, that's it for me. Thank you guys as always for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up or subscribe to the channel. I hope you do that. I've got a nice upload coming for you guys tomorrow, so I'll give you some weekend studying you can do, and then I'll give you my game plan on Sunday, and we'll be back at it bright and early Monday morning. Of course, I'll be live streaming. Those of you guys that want to do a 2-week trial at Warrior Trading, there's a link down in the description. You can check that out. And during that 2-week trial, you also have access to a selection of classes so you can study during the trial. All right, so I hope you guys tune in for that. And I'll remind you as always that trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so manage your risk, take it slow. I'll see you back here bright and early on Monday morning.